Well, hello everyone, and it's good morning to y'all because this is our first sew along for the Silverstone. It's the first day for it. Let me grab my pattern out here. This is the pattern that we will be working. It is a Robert Kaufman pattern. All we are doing today is cutting the fabric. So if you're new here, what we are doing, this is a sew along that we're going to just sew and chit chat and enjoy and have fun. It is nothing fast, nothing serious. It is going to run through the month of July and August. So the end of August is going to be our cutoff. So I know we're like a week into July already, but that'll be okay. So today what we are doing is cutting our fabric. I am pulling out the fabrics that I have here. I am using the Starberry. This is a stash buster, scrap buster, whatever type of fabric you want, sew along. And the finished piece will look something like this. In whatever fabrics you have chosen. This is a little something that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I don't know if y'all know this. I don't go into Hobby Lobby very often anymore, but they have gotten like housewares and things like that, and I got this really cute little tray. So what I am going to do is be putting my fabrics once I cut them in here. Now, I do not know if I am going to be using my charm packs. I do know that I will be using all of the layer cake. This is a 10 square friendly or layer cake friendly. I do have concerns since this is going to be my background. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I was afraid I wasn't going to get this video out for you guys today because we have had storms that, I don't know what happened, but we powered down, but it was lightning. Ever since my grandbaby's daddy picked him up, it has been lightning, and I don't cut my sewing machine on when it's lightning. I just don't risk that. Okay, so I'm moving that part of my layer cake out of the way. I have several pieces of my layer cake. So I have 10 pieces of a layer cake, which means 40 squares that I'm probably not going to use, because if you remember when I was doing the test block, I had the blue, the solid blue in the scrappy part of that one square that I tried, and I'm very worried that that will, I don't know, I'm afraid it's going to look wrong. But this is only going to make 40 squares. But let me look. Because if I'm sitting here thinking I'm rolling it around in my head, because the center pieces I think are 2.5 inches. Now, I do want to make my quilt bigger than what it calls for, but how I may have to do that is get more yardage and make a border around it. So let's see, we need, it's calling for white. I'm not using white. I am using the green yardage here. And I haven't got my binding yet. I'll get my binding after I got my top done and quilted. Now for the, it says from fabric A cut 11 2.5 inch by width of fabric strips, subcut into 168 2.5 inch squares. That 2.5 inch square is going to go on the corner. Now I have 10 That's not going to equal 200 and something. 268. Or 168, I'm sorry. But if I don't use this, let me see, that's 10. For 2.5, I can get 4 going across. So I can get 16. That's only 160. And I need 168 2.5-inch squares. I think I'm going to go ahead and use the solid. And I will have to use my charm packs possibly for the colors, because I want a solid in the center. So let's get cutting. We are going to pull the layer cake. And I'm going to put my yardage over here. And I will show you all the rulers I have. And I will let y'all know, Shannon with Meaty Girl Creates, she has a video out there of using her stripology, cutting the fabrics. So she's already got a start on us. She's already sewing her squares. So this does look like a very easy pattern. That is why I chose it, because we have some new to quilters people, or new, you know, so I want this to be something that's easy for everyone to do. And yeah, I'm sorry my glasses keep sliding. It's because my face it just feels so slick right there. But let me turn that so I can get to my instructions here. And the first thing it says is to read through all of the instructions before beginning. All of the seam allowances are 1/4 inch unless otherwise noted. Press seam allowances open unless otherwise noted. Width the fabric is equal to at least 42 inches wide. Right sides together has been abbreviated RST. Remember to measure twice and cut once. From each square in the 10 square pack, cut 2 4.5 by width of fabric, subcut into 2 4.5 squares from each strip. Okay, so in other words, that just means cut it in half, almost like a charm pack. Well, I have 3 rulers out that I may use. I'm not saying I am going to use it, and I may have to grab something different. This is an OmniGrid ruler right here. It's the 2.5 by, let's see, 18 inches. 2.5 by 18 inches. A nice lady at the quilt retreat that with Kristen with IC Stars Quilting, her quilt retreat back in February, I believe it was, February or March, a very nice lady gave this to me there. I was so new, green behind the ears. She saw my struggle. And I have a 6 by 24 inch. I think this is a Fiskars. And then I have a 6.5 by 24 inch. This is a Fiskars. Now, this has cuts for you. I really like this one to get an accurate cut. So, let me show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to just pull about 4 pieces of this. I'm going to lay it down right here flat. I do not, since I am right-handed, I do not cut that direction. I cut this direction. And with this, you have these white sections. Do not put that part over your fabric because it will not cut. And what I am doing is just lining up. And my blade should actually be up here. But I don't press down on it until... Now, being that this is a 10 square, 4.5, you know, I could literally cut these into 5-inch squares, say, and cut the, which I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to cut these in half. Now, see, I always go back and forth over mine. And now this will wobble like that. Just so you know, I need to get my garbage can where I can throw things in it. I was saying earlier, I didn't know if I was going to get this done, this video done. We have had some storms that have been quite something else. It kicked our power off. Now I'm doing this at the 4.5. It kicked our power off. Well, it kicked mine off just for a little bit. But like my dad, my sister, and my aunt, they had no power. I don't know how that happened because normally, and I'm just turning this here. Y'all will see what I'm doing here. First off, I'm cutting them into 5 inches, 5-inch squares. And then I'm trimming that other side down to where I don't have that serrated edge, to where everything is at 4.5, and I call it serrated. It's not serrated, it's pinked. It's a pinked edge. So this is going to take a little while, but I don't mind. I don't mind sitting here chatting with y'all. But anyway, so it was lightning really bad, so I don't cut anything on. I don't record or anything because, first off, our internet was out. And on top of the internet being out, I mean, it's lightning, y'all. I mean, really bad. Every time I kept getting notices on my phone, because I get notices every time there's lightning strikes. And it was constant, one right after the other. And y'all, I'm just going to tell y'all, that was seriously bad. Now, I am going to have to check this one to make sure it's 4.5 all the way around. Because I don't think it is. I think it's 5. Because I need to, I didn't trim that other edge off. So this is how my cutting goes. It's a slow process for me. Just because I do like to make sure it is correct. Now, like I said, Shannon with Meaty Girl Creates, she's got that with a stripology ruler, which would be amazing to have to cut this many pieces out. But I can cut it with this. It's not a big deal. And I even looked into my quilt. I do have a 4.5, but it's only one at a time, and I can only do 10 squares at a time. But the problem with doing this with an quilt is it creates a lot of waste. Now, I know somebody's probably flipping their lid because I'm throwing the scraps away. These are too small to even put on a scrappy quilt or a string quilt. They're just too small. They're too small for me. I'm not going to put something this small on a string quilt. Like literally, that's all it is. 1/2 inch. So I got my first 4 done, and that's how it's going. And I guess what it is, I just don't want to put too many down here to do, because that can mess up. But I'm doing it at the 5 inches again. And you probably notice I do not care, you know, that my fabrics are going to be out of order, and it does not matter to me. So now I'm doing this one at 4.5 inches. Doing this at 5 again. And I do line this up on my cutting mat, but, you know, mainly so it's easier for me to get my lines straight. Now, I will have to pull 40 colored squares out of the charm packs. That way, and I mean, it probably won't make a difference at all, but I'm just worried it will. But you got a solid. I don't know. It probably won't make a difference. I'll have to think about that while I'm cutting, because I don't know. But I know I told you guys that I'm, you know, I have everything on a schedule. Well, my schedule is blown out the water. I know I told you guys that I had everything on a schedule. I'm turning back here. I don't even have everything for the 3rd done. This was one of the things to do for the 3rd. But I am that far behind now. And because first I unexpectedly have my grandbaby. Which is okay. I'll take that any day. And, you know, when you have a baby, you can't do this. You just cannot. You cannot. So, I can't anyway. And that little booger, he figured out how to pull the straps out of the safety straps that lock him in the swing. He figured out how to pull them things out of the back. Because he turned himself right on around in that swing. He likes to bury his face so he can sleep. That bothers me because all I can see is him suffocating. So whenever he goes to sleep, I go and I turn his head. I turn his head. Because I'm like, not on my watch. Not happening. But he's just the sweetest little thing. We went and saw my aunt, which is his great-great aunt, today. And he was so sweet for her. He is normally a handful, does not sit still. He sat so still for her today and let her hold him. I'm like, my goodness, why can't you be that still for me? He's like a little monkey all over me. But he is so sweet. He's so smiley. And I hope to see my granddaughter pretty soon. They went to the beach for the 4th of July. Had a good time, I hope. They love the water. They love the beach. We didn't really grow up on the beach, so it's not a big thing for me. I like the mountains. I literally could live in Tennessee, North Carolina, up in the mountains. I could handle that. I'd love it. I love North Carolina. I've been there a couple times when I was younger. My uncle, he was a preacher. So we went to a Bible convention in the summertime. And since they had no children, they would take us, me and my older sister. We always had so much fun. I think it was called Ridgecrest. We went to a couple different locations. I went to Ridgecrest twice. My older sister, I think, only went once. But I went to Ridgecrest twice. And, oh, it was so beautiful. It's at a college. I don't remember much about it because I was so young. And let's face it, all I got to do is turn around a couple times and I done forgot what I did. Okay, so we're doing this at the 5 inches. See, I'm forgetting right now what I'm doing. But it was always so much fun. I had friends that I had kept up with for years. And I hate that I lost touch because we were pen pals and just kind of lost touch, you know. Teenage things, you get busy and lose stuff like that. But anyway, I loved it in North Carolina. We went to New Mexico also. And it was called Glorieta. And Yeah, it was hot. Oh my goodness, it was so hot. At Ridgecrest, it was always cool because we were up in the mountains and I loved it. Those were good memories. But I could live in Tennessee, North Carolina area because I just love it. But I'd have to be in the mountains. I'd have to be in the mountains. And one of my favorite places that I like going is in South Carolina. Charleston. I love Charleston. It's so beautiful. My husband and I drove there. I don't know if our children was with us or not. I know we had just gotten back from vacation in Tennessee. We had gone to Gatlinburg. We did the Cades Cove because I did that as a child with my aunt and uncle. And so I wanted my kids to experience that because I loved it. It was so beautiful. You know, I wanted them to see the bears. I wanted them to see the fireflies, you know, like down in the thing, you know, as it started getting dusk. And, oh, it was so beautiful. But we had just gotten back from that and that trip. And my husband and I, we had been talking about purchasing a new vehicle. And he'd been working with a gentleman in Charleston at, I can't even think of it. He was a race car driver that passed away in an airplane crash. I can't remember his name. I want to say his name was Ricky Hendricks. Or Hendricks. Yeah, Hendricks Motors is where we purchased. We had just gotten back and we ended up turning around, my husband and I, like 2 weeks later, turning around, going to South Carolina, to Charleston, South Carolina, to Hendricks Motors. And I kept telling my husband, I'm like, that name sounds so familiar. And when I got there, yes, I was a Bachelorette fan. And when we got there, they had a room of all of his race car stuff. And if you've watched Bachelorette, you know what I'm talking about. If not, that's okay. You're not missing anything. I had told my husband and I showed him. I was like, I told you, I knew it sounded familiar. And so I explained to him, you know, the girl that was on Bachelorette, that guy was her fiance. And she was supposed to have been on the plane with him. And the plane never made it to its destination. And she thought she had the flu. She was going to the doctor. And she went to the doctor and found out she was pregnant. That to me was so sad. Her name was Emily Maynard, I believe. And I just thought, you know, it was really neat. That was something that I had seen. And no, I'm not one of those googly fans that's going to go chasing people across the country. I ain't got time for that. I don't have the energy for it. We just went and we traded. Let's see. I had, I had a Highlander. It was my very first Highlander that I had. Since then, I've had 2 more. I'm currently in a Highlander. And I love Highlanders. But we traded. The only reason we did this was because my oldest daughter had flipped my other car that I had given her to drive back and forth to school. And she had flipped it, totaled it. She needed a way to go. And the only thing that we could do, you know, when you have 3 kids and you're trying to get an extra vehicle for them, you just do what you got to do. Well, my vehicle was the only one still with a note on it, my truck. So what we did was traded my truck in. We went to South Carolina, traded my truck in for 2 cars. We got 2 Toyota Camrys. And our note only went up $100 a month. So we did that so she could have a vehicle to drive. And then when she left, her little sister got that car and to drive, because it was really just for them to drive back and forth to school. She was going to college. She moved into the dorm. So she didn't need a car at that point. When she moved off campus, she did. So we gave her a different car. But, yeah, so we went and traded it in South Carolina. And I could go back. I love that place. I don't know what it is about the East Coast. I just love it. And I actually have a brother that lives in South Carolina. I think he said he doesn't live but like an hour and a half maybe from the beach. I don't know if it's Myrtle Beach that he lives like an hour and a half from, but it don't matter. It's a beach. I've never been much of the beach person though. Not that I don't like it. It's just that it's hot. It's sand. I hope everybody's doing good with their cutting. I'm just chit-chatting and cutting here. But you probably already have your stuff cut and you're probably sewing. You know, I'm behind the game right now, but that's okay. As long as I get to the finish line, it don't matter how long it takes. But I will probably have my quilt done. I'm going to dare say cut and assembled, and I may even quilt this one myself. I don't know. I may carry it in and have it quilted. But like I said, I don't know. I haven't decided yet the ins and outs of it all. And also for you guys, I do have a Facebook group. I will be making a posting this morning, this video, and I say this morning, and you know I'm pre-recording this, but I'm trying to say it in context of when you're seeing it. There will be a post made on the Facebook group for you to start posting pictures of your progress, and do it under that post only, because I may have more than one sew-along go on, and that way we could keep all the pictures in one area. And because I will be doing a prize, that's why I'm giving it until the end of August, you know, August 30th. I have a lot of prizes to give away because Amy was so gracious and blessed me with a box of quilting sewing items, and I'm passing things along to you guys. Now, I'm sorry, that set of gloves is no longer in there. I'm using them gloves myself because me trying to, but I will be replacing the gloves in there because she did send a lot of stuff for me to share with everybody, and I'm going to share it with everybody. But I shared those gloves with myself the other day after I sewed my finger up in the sewing machine. Got it caught up in that needle. That wasn't fun. But I will be doing a giveaway. Not sure what it's going to be based off of. Could be creativity, could be like your color design. I mean, we know what the pattern is. That's a given. The pattern is a given. So it's what do you do with this pattern? What do you create maybe with this pattern? Now, we all know mine is Corey Yoder's Starberry line, which I love. I think it is just so beautiful. And I love Christmas, so this is not hard for me to do. It's just when I go cutting those 168 2.5 inch squares. Now, wait, I do some 2 inches too, don't I? I think I do some 2 inches as well. But my goal tonight, I'm only going to be cutting for an hour. Now, I may have to edit out some of it. Because I don't really plan on y'all having a whole hour-long video. But if it's close to it, that's okay, because we're doing this all together. And if it takes you as long to cut fabric as it does me, now, you know, like I said, Shannon, boy, she had that stripology set, and whew, she flew right through cutting her fabrics. Boy, what I would love to have one of those sets. Because, girl, I watched you cut that fabric, and I was in awe. Now, I have one, but it's not stripology. Stripology, it has all the graphs and stuff on it. And the one I have is like a flimsy plastic. It's an Amazon special. But it does the job. And I will probably pull it out here when I go to do my 2.5 inch strips. But girl, that thing, oh my goodness. That, now I like my AccuQuilt also. It cuts. Now, I looked to see if there was a way to do the layer cake on my AccuQuilt. I can only cut to a 5 inch square, which, I mean, that would have been fine because I'm cutting it down to a 5 inch square. Probably could have done that, but I didn't. It's okay. And it does cut pretty good. Right now, it's got a quilt laid on top of it that I need to bind. And I have the bedroom done, so that is my Craftsman. It's the one that I've been waiting on my bedroom to get done to do it. Now, I do have a different quilt on that bed. It's not one that I made. It's a store-bought quilt. And you know, those things are just mass-produced. It's a panel that's put together and with pretty quilting on it. Got to get myself lined up here. And I hope everybody still has all their fingers and hands and everything after the 4th of July. I hope we didn't have any accidents or damages. That would be awful. That would be absolutely horrible. I remember when we were kids, my parents, well, our parents wouldn't let us have anything but a sparkler. You know, the little, that's all we could have. And honestly, that was enough. Because when we got older and we started doing them for my kids, I'm terrified of fireworks. But my husband, he always, 4th of July, New Year's, he always would go and come back with like a box of fireworks. And I don't like them because I feel like they chase you. I don't like them things. And they hurt you. I don't like things that could burn my house down. You know, we work too hard for that. Or that could take a finger away. Well, y'all, I'm just about done with my layer cake. Even though I have taken these green ones off. I don't know. I need to look at those. Just to see. Because I really do like the greens. Those are so pretty. But I'm going to have that solid green, so I don't know if it's going to distract. Okay, so let me pull this where you can see what I've got. I've got my layers. Layer cake right there. This is my little to-do book that is still on July the 3rd. It's okay, though. It's okay. So let me see. What I'm going to do is just kind of lay my... You know what? If it does, it does. It don't matter. I'm going to go ahead and cut this because I'm going to use them charm packs for something else. Hopefully, being that these aren't solids, it won't affect the look. I hope you guys are either cutting or sewing along with me. You can join us in our Facebook group. And even if you don't, you can still join the Facebook group just to see the progress that everyone is making. If you do not have Facebook, you can email your photos directly to me at my email address that is in the description of this video. The Facebook group link will also be in the video. I did have a subscriber tell me that they could not, the link did not work for them. If it does not work for you, I went and checked it and the link worked for me. I don't know if it has something to do with a server issue or what, but if you cannot find it by clicking the link, it is called MyHobbyHomeLife. You may have to scroll through some of the groups or pages there to find it. It will have the same icon on it as My Hobby Home does. Well, not the flowers. It's going to have my little barn on it with the flowers. So you'll know that it's going to have the little graphic, little red barn with the flowers and some butterflies on it. But you can find me that way. If the link does not take you to it, you can find me that way. And also, if you like this cutting ruler that I do have the link down in the description. Feel free to check it out. You can go look at it. It is on Amazon. If you're not able to get this locally, you can definitely check there. If you purchase anything from any of the links in my description, I may receive a small commission, and I'm going to say express small, very, very small commission. It does help me out. It does not cost you an extra penny to purchase anything that I have linked. These aren't quite even, but that is okay because I'm trimming them out. I love being able to share something that I enjoy so much with everyone. I did, a subscriber made a comment on one of my videos that I was an inspiration. You know, I inspired her, and I am so happy. And I just kind of said, well, you know, my response was, I'm inspired daily by watching things. Before I started my YouTube channel, I was just kind of in a funk, you know, just kind of doing the same thing every day. And I was just going through the motions. There was no joy, no passion, nothing like that. I mean, there was nothing I was passionate about. Because all I did was work, come home, clean house. And I'll tell you now, I don't clean house. My grandbaby was here today, and I did. Since I can't sew or record while he's here, I did get all my laundry done. I got my dishwasher loaded and got those dishes done. I got my bathroom clean. So that's a bonus. But I cannot shampoo my carpet or vacuum my carpet while he's here because he does not like the vacuum. Well, my goodness, it looks like I've got another piece. So that's not 10 pieces there. I don't know. I got another piece here that's a part of a piece. I got that piece. Huh. I don't know that I'm going to need that. But I am going to cut it down. Anyway, I'm going to treat it like it was a miscut piece. And that I'm actually missing part of it. So that's how I'm going to treat it. Because I love that print. I don't know, did I have that print? Yeah, I had that print. So this might not have been a double print here. I just got a little extra in my package. Talking about packages, guys, I don't know. I haven't checked yet. I'm going to need to email Creative Notions. Have not gotten my box for that yet. And should have received that last month. Because this is a box that they charge on the 15th of every month. And let's see, we're on the 5th. So we're 10 days away from them charging again. And I will cancel it if I don't have my box. I'm going to cancel it until they can get everything caught up. I love that box though, y'all. I really love that box. It's going to be hard for me to do. But if I don't have the box that I've already paid for, I will go on and cancel it just so they can catch up. And I know it's probably a supplier issue, but I'm not going to try to keep up with it. And I would have to try to keep up with it because if I pay for something, I need to make sure I get it. And I don't have time to try to keep up with stuff. you know, keep up with if I got it or not. And I got so many other things going on anyway that I don't need to watch for that. So I'm hoping that I get my box. Let's see, that was the one I should have gotten in June, so paid for it in May. Should have gotten in June. So we're just waiting on that box to come in. Should be receiving clue number 6 for the Tree of Life pretty soon. I think at the end of July, I think July 26th is what someone had said. The Wild West for like those that paid in full, which I paid in full for a small, we will get all of our fabric. And I'm looking to say, oh, we're already at an hour, y'all. And I haven't even got all of my layer cake cut. Oh, I'm going to have to, I didn't trim this down. See there, I got distracted. So we can see it's going to take just a little more than an hour to cut all of our fabrics. And so we can go in and do this, but I have my layer cake done. What I'll probably do is cut my yardage just separately. I won't do that on video because, like I said, we are at an hour right now. I'm going to try to edit this down to where you are under 45 minutes. But I may not be able to do that. But I may be able to. If I have moments of silence. But I think I've ran my mouth the whole time tonight. And this hour has flown by. When you are having fun, boy, time flies. And this is how much fun I'm having. Y'all look at that. That is a layer cake of Starberry by Corey Yoder. Cut up into 4.5-inch squares. I am going to go on and continue to do my yardage. And I'm going to get that cut. And so next week, I am going to be releasing my videos at 9 a.m. So you can sew with them all day long if you want to. You can start your day with this video. Start your sewing with this video. And so you can sew all day. I know in our Tag Your It video, I tagged Shannon, and she did say that she likes to start in the morning, early in the morning. I do too. I know I said at night, but that's kind of a joke. It seems like I'm always sewing at night, which it's nighttime right now. But I like to start sewing early in the morning, like on the weekends. I'll start at 6 in the morning, sometimes earlier that, and I sew all day long. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. We have got day 1 of our Robert Kaufman's Silverstone sew-along completed. So guys, thank you so much. I have really enjoyed this. I love chit-chatting while I'm cutting my fabrics. Normally, I'm sitting here listening to someone else on YouTube doing while I'm cutting, and this has been fun. So I really hope you come back next week for our second segment of our sew-along. And what we will be doing, I guess, next week is we will be piecing the little 2-inch squares on the corners of our 4.5-inch squares. So guys, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Goodbye.